Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about boondocking. How do we go about finding a proper spot?
So we started boondocking 3 years ago. Since then we have not spent a penny on parking, and today we're going to discuss how we go about it and discuss 6 different types of boondocking spots as well as 4 different apps that we use for it. First, we need to decide whether we are actually in transit, we are going somewhere, or we are just staying stationary. It varies. If we are going in transit, and we frequently are, like right now we are boondocking in one of the small towns in Manitoba. So as we are going today, we are going to Regina, and we already are pre-planning how many kilometers we are going to go. This is very important for us. If we need to stretch through the entire Canada, we need to apportion ourselves according to our health, weather conditions, eyesight conditions, whether we can or we cannot. Rule number 1 for any boondocking spot is that we want to arrive there before sunset. Before sunset means a lot to us because we can look around in the area, scan the security, see what's around, whether we can use facilities or not. Also, in case this place is not good, we always have a choice of another spot somewhere else in the vicinity. It can give us some time to drive to a new location.
Right. And you can obviously see better during daylight hours than you can see at night.
What is relevant for some of the people that have smaller vehicles, that we have 21
foot overall length.
So we will fit in one parking spot. So we are not looking for places that will accommodate larger vehicles. We can fit in practically anywhere. So we are looking to blend in.
That's right. Our vehicle is just the right size that it fits the typical average maximum parking spot dimensions that are available across North America, which is anywhere from 8 feet wide to 19 to 22 feet long. That's sort of a standard. We are 21 foot, so we even fit into a 19-foot spot sticking out over the sidewalk or whatever a bit.
And that's fine. Okay, so we have been using successfully about 6 different types of boondocking spots. Some of them we use when we are traveling on over long distance, and some when we are stationary. So when we are traveling long distance and we are on the road most of the time on the highways, for example in Canada, our favorite stop is truck stops. And there are reasons why. There are a few pluses that we really like. First of all, truck stop is very easy to access. It's very easy to find on the map. It has a flat surface, and in case we need facilities, whether water, shower, laundry, we can always get it. We can also feel safe. It's usually well lit together with other people, so we don't feel that the bear is going to come over or somebody else. Now the minus, truck stops are typically expensive and limited in facilities. However, if it's raining and you do not want to be inside your van or a car, you go into the truck stop and you just watch a movie, right? They have lounging chairs there.
Some of the larger ones do, yeah. Not all truck stops, and sometimes across Canada it's a little smaller. But the main point is that it's easily accessible from the highway. You don't have to drive endlessly through small winding roads to get to the spot. But as she already mentioned, on the downside, they are oftentimes a little more expensive in whatever they offer for sale compared to your typical grocery store. Next on the list is rest stops. And the main thing with rest stops is they're very easily available. They're right on the highway itself. You just exit off the highway onto the rest stop and you're there already. However, we don't ever have much expectations. They usually are very limited in any sort of facility, but it's a place to find a garbage can and a toilet, so you can get some water.
On the plus, sometimes when we were traveling this is our favorite spot also when we're traveling across and we are on the highways, that some of them do offer very nice surroundings. They're treed and scenic, yeah, so much better than the truck spots, and usually they are quiet because trucks do not pull into the they do pull in, but they pull in the separate areas so that people who are in smaller vehicles, they can enjoy a quiet night.
Right. Yeah, and that's actually one of the potential downsides in a truck stop or in a small space where everybody is jammed together. Trucks will be running all night, especially when it's hot or cold outside. So you have to put up with the noise of the engine idling
And also exhaust fumes,
and
right?
exhaust fumes, yes. Probably our favorite stop is Walmart. And it's simply because they're usually very close to highway entrances or exits. And they offer pretty much all the amenities that we are looking for: grocery shopping, vehicle components, spare parts to some degree, service.
Even flip-flops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flip-flops.
In a case of emergency, you can always go brush your teeth, go to the toilet, dispose of the garbage. So it is the best spot for us that we actually need minimum facilities. Walmart also offers Wi-Fi when you're inside the store. On the parking lot, usually you won't get
Yeah, it's
that
a little more
Wi-Fi.
difficult to get Wi-Fi on the parking lot at Walmart's. And the trade-off for Walmart is you come shop there, they give you a place to park. And that all said, we will always leave the spot at least as good as we found it or better.
The one thing with Walmart is it's not always very safe and it's not always very quiet. Sometimes at night, and you cannot predict it, people come and they do donuts in the middle of the night on the parking lot, or there's some gathering in the middle of the night and fireworks. You don't know what's going to happen, and you will not figure it out unless you actually spend a night.
But that all said, we haven't had any trouble at Walmart so far. And looking through the reviews and then targeting based on that has been very successful for us. And washrooms, well, sometimes you can find a place that is maybe not quite so tidy. But really, in most cases, Walmart is really good about tidiness in the washrooms and the facility usefulness.
If you have plenty of time and it's a bad weather, it's a beautiful and wonderful place to kill your time. In
Sure.
between aisles, right?
In between aisles, yes. Next on our list is BLM land or state parks. It's basically just government land, such as state parks and wild camping, I think, is another term used. And this is something
Dispersed camping.
right, and this is something that we use for longer stays, and especially in the Southwest. Not so available across Canada, a little more difficult access, especially in the wintertime. The Southwest offers the most opportunity for that.
We use BLM whenever we don't travel through. It's great for productivity. I work a lot on computers, so I need a lot of quiet time that I don't have to fold anything, close all the drawers that we need to move from one spot to another, or driving time. So it's perfect for a digital nomad. But you have to have really good internet to get connected. Sometimes BLM is in the middle of nowhere, and you have to pre-plan it. There are no groceries around. Maybe the next town is 5 miles, 10 miles away, and maybe it's one rinky-dinky town where you just simply don't have the groceries that you are accustomed to buying in a large city. So you need to pre-plan it quite well. Now, the BLM is very nice, but it does not offer flat surfaces. There are plenty of opportunities to park in different types of sceneries. It's just very scenic, very nice, but you need to have good driving skills because there are a lot of holes, twists and turns, and there are no specific roads that you go through. You just have to go in between the bushes.
Some of it is the best that off-roading has to offer.
Yes.
And in a large vehicle like
It's
ours,
more
we are a little more cautious about where we go and how we drive through. We are not quite so daring, and mainly because I don't really want to really cause any damage on the vehicle.
Now, on the positive note, BLM is the best place to have gatherings of other vans. There's plenty of opportunity, and people are very easy to meet and very nice to talk to.
It's easy to bring a little community together.
On the downside, watch out for wildlife. You can have all sorts of critters coming up and crawling to your van, especially if you don't put your food away.
Moving along is industrial areas, small industrial parks, which are usually in the outskirts of cities, usually also quite accessible from the highway. We don't personally utilize such areas very much. We never found that we had to. It's usually an area that you want to frequent after business hours, and you want to be gone before business starts up again. So it's great for typically a quiet night of parking, but the facilities available are next to very limited or nothing at all. Not really any garbage unless you can find somebody's bin, and then you're infringing on somebody's private property. So it's not really our favorite place. But on the plus side, if you have a larger vehicle and there isn't anybody around, likely you'll be fine parking overnight. And if your vehicle is a little more commercial looking, like a step van or just a panel van type of a thing, you might just blend in that it is just a service vehicle or a delivery vehicle parked there, and nobody will even worry about it or bother with you.
Yeah, it's a very raw and very crude way of parking. You come in at the time where they close the businesses. You leave before they open the businesses. So you need to really watch your time and watch that you're not on any private property, but on a public spot. So maybe on a maybe on the road, and you practically have no access to anything, Wi-Fi, grocery, coffee shop. You can't even get in anywhere if you get bored of sitting in a van. So that's not our best way. However, we have a membership to Anytime Fitness, which gives us 24-hour access to the gym membership anywhere in the world, and we have made use of it 1 or 2 or 3 times, which means we in these cities where it was difficult to park, we pulled it into the Anytime Fitness, use the facilities, which means they have wonderful Wi-Fi, wonderful washroom, and you can exercise right there. Yeah. And they can sometimes have videos and TVs, so you can spend your time, and you can then park in front, and since this is 24-hour facility, nobody will bother you, and you can leave at any time because people think that you're just in right. the Anytime Fitness.
Our final boondocking destination is private lots, and that usually means friends or family. A friend or family will offer us their driveway to park in, and that of course then means whatever the friend and family is willing to share with you.
So you might have a castle, or you might have just a driveway. That's right. It, right? Or not even a driveway. Sometimes we manage to park in the garden and front yard. Yeah.
Right. And that's basically just that. And then you're amongst friends and family, so there's some conversation, some socializing. And sometimes, of course, because they're friends and family, you might be able to use their laundry or their bathroom or their shower or whatever. But it is just a direct purpose of a visit is attached to it.
Yeah, we really had good luck with that. We have wonderful friends all over North America, so we're totally lucky. We have our laundry taken care of. Even food sometimes comes on, and it's really like 5-star hotel, so we're great. But yeah, we have to watch out for residential rules and do not upset the neighbors. So right, sometimes, depending on the neighbors, we may not want to keep it really quiet.
Yes.
But we want to say thank you to everybody, whoever had us, and
whoever
I think we
us.
It's like 100 list of 100 people. All right, then we'll move on.
So now to the big question: how do we actually go about it? What are the tools that we use? Well, nowadays in this world of smartphones, we use Android apps. We have an Android device, and we use several apps to accomplish that. I have nothing to do with any of that at all. I just drive.
Okay, I'm the planner, so I do all the apps, and I've tested so many of them, and I actually like 2 of them, and I use only 2, but I'm going to talk about 4 of them. The first one is, and I really do like it, is iOverlander. The reason why I do like it is because it's accurate, because it's frequently updated. Now, iOverlander is mostly used by us in the summer, because they talk about nooks and crannies, different little spots that you can park for free. But when it comes to winter, some of the spots are very difficult to access. They are some of the places are actually closed. When we travel through winter, some of the spots are completely closed or unavailable or temporarily closed for repairs or seasonal maintenance. So iOverlander is
or they are closed due to too much snow. You might just not be able to access the road to go there.
Yes, but I do really like it because it has a lot of fresh and updated information.
Yeah, it's user updated and continuously.
Yeah, the second The second app that we really like, and especially when we're traveling in long distances and we don't want to veer away from main highways, is Trucker's Path. It's a great small app that is used for larger vehicles, so means only trucker spots that are easily accessible with large flat surfaces to park on. And it's great and it's frequently updated, it's always up to date.
Which means that it is always something that is easily accessible for any vehicle because it accommodates the largest vehicles. And it also means that it's on the main route that truckers take to go for their deliveries and traveling across the country.
The third app that I used to use up to last year was called Park Advisor. Occasionally I go in there. The problem is that Park Advisor does not have any spots for Canada, so it's good for USA only. Good part of it is that you can filter through all the spots that you want, whether Walmart, Cabela's, Bass Pro, trucker spots, etc. And it will show you all these. However, it's not frequently updated. It's not a frequently used app by other people. So when something is said to be open, do not expect to be open.
Yeah. We've had a few problems with it where we used the Park Advisor, ended up going to a Walmart that was well reviewed and all that, but the reviewers were slightly older, and town regulations have changed, or the management of Walmart, they may have had too much problems or customer complaints, and all of a sudden overnight parking is no longer welcomed.
Yeah.
So that puts a bit of a dent into your plans.
Yeah, there is another app that I used to use and it's still useful. It's RV Parky, very similar to Park Advisor, but the plus is that it also has spots for Canada, so you can use it while traveling in Canada. Again, it is not updated frequently, but has all the filters for various small spots. Once we choose the spot and we are sure that this is the spot that we want and can park because it's available, next thing is we assess the area for backup. We always have a backup spot just in case this particular one is no longer accessible, available, feasible for whatever reason.
Or the driveway is just too steep to get into and we might be bottoming out at the rear bumper, something like that. Happens rarely, but we've gotten into situations like that already. And then we might move on. The backup spot that we choose, we usually try to find something that is relatively close by.
Half an hour
but
within.
we have had times where we've actually had to move on for an hour even, and you have to account for that.
That's why we always try to arrive at the first spot way before sunset, so we have at least half an hour to look for another spot in case the first one did. We have a two-step method for successful boondocking. The first step is to find out what we really need. So if we have a need to go to one spot and we don't want to stop anywhere along the way, we see what is it that we need. If we need groceries or water, probably we'll need Walmart. If we need Walmart, we likely will use Overlander. If we have a need for fuel, Trucking Stop is the best option. Trucker's Path will be probably the best app. If we have a need for fun, means we want to do a hiking, we are looking for rest stops. And for that, we can use any app or just punch in rest stops in the Google search. If we have a need for good Wi-Fi, we are looking for Anytime Fitness. So we punch in Anytime Fitness in Google search and voila, everything happens.
And a good workout.
And a good workout. So needs are our priorities. And then the restrictions. And there are several restrictions we are paying attention to. First is the distance. Why the distance? There are several factors. One, can we make it? Do we have enough fuel? Do I have enough money to get the fuel? Do I need to have my computer charged? Because if I work on the computer discharges quite quickly. And let's say if I'm missing 50% of battery charge, I need 50 minutes of driving if the weather conditions are bad and we don't have solar to charge up my computer. So
With
50
the
minutes.
alternator, that is.
Yeah, so 50 minutes might mean 50 kilometers or 50 miles or 100 kilometers or 100 miles, depending on the road. And there is a weather. We also have to consider weather. Do we have snow? Is there wind? Is thunderstorm, hail, dust, storm? We have encountered few unusual weather conditions on the road, and we have good weather apps, so we know ahead of time and factor it in.
The weirdest one was the giant tumbleweeds.
Absolutely. They were totally giantous.
Almost as large as the van.
Then we have to take into consideration the road. Are we going to go through the highway? Highway means 100 kilometers an hour. Not a highway, dirt road, probably 40, 50 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Are there tolls? Are there ferries? Do we want to? Are they up and down and steep and hills or whatever we can encounter? Because that's important, because our van may or may not make it. Because we have to also take into consideration what the van health state is. Or, for example, in El Paso, remember that? We had to go up the hill and...
Transmission cooler failed once again.
Yeah, once again. Or the tires.
Since then, it's been pretty good, the transmission cooler, but anything can happen. Sometimes the starter doesn't need, you need the hammer.
You need a hammer. Yes, there's a video about how to use a hammer when you cannot start. Another one very important is health. And health is, by health we mean, are we fatigued? Do we have a mental fatigue? Do we have eyesight fatigue? Can we see properly? And are we feeling dull or unenergetic? Or just fed up of driving? Okay, we don't have any health issues whatsoever. We are well put together, and it's wonderful because we don't have to stop on the way to do the pee-pee or poo-poo. We don't have issue either way. We don't need to stop for mandatory food because our blood sugar is low. So good health during travel is number one. We have a special video on how we made it despite bad genetics. That's all for now, and we are hoping that the video will help you make a good decision about boondocking, and you're going to sail smoothly for years to come, having free parking overnight. Until then,
Ciao.
ciao.